Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and there's been yet another poll. They do come along like buses, don't they? This one was by Norsat, and it shows quite a remarkable change in the makeup of Holyrood, should the polling be reflected in the vote. If it is reflected, it puts Labour on 23%. Now, that's down from where they were not so long ago, about 7 points down. They were on 30%. And it's just terrible news for them. They would be the second biggest party, but not by much. Labour would have, on this basis, would have 29 MSPs, which is actually an increase of 7 on its current lot, but only because of the fall in the SNP. All other things being equal, they would have expected a massive rise with the unpopularity of the SNP. They would have been looking at maybe a 20 to 25 increase in seats, not 7. And so while it looks good on paper, it's actually very disappointing for them. So who's going to make up the others? Well, Swinney would get 33%, giving them 51 MSPs, which is down from the 63 currently. But again, that's only because Labour are so bad, people aren't quite switching across. And so for some reason, the SNP vote is holding very much stronger than would be expected. But again, that's at the cost of Labour seats. Labour should have got more and the SNP should have got less, but it's more evened up. But it does mean that neither of those two parties will have a large majority or even a large enough number to go into coalition directly with another party, unless it was a Labour SNP coalition, which is probably not going to happen because they do actually loathe each other. And Anas Sarwar said he would never work with the SNP. Scottish Greens, and this is where it's a weird one, they'd actually gained 2 seats. However, they'd slipped down the rankings from the 4th biggest party to the 6th biggest party. And of course, the big winner, of course, would be Reform. Now, the Tories would have about 15% of the points of the vote, and we'd give them 16 seats, which is about half of where they are now. I think they've got 31 now, so it'll be 16. They'd lose half their seats, and they'd all be snaffled up by Reform, who would get 12 seats. The Lib Dems would have 11. And so there we are. It's going to be SNP, Labour, Tory, Reform, Lib Dem, Greens. And that's a strange parliament. So who makes the decisions? Who is kingmaker? Well, it'd have to be Reform, wouldn't it? Reform would come in and say, right, who do we need? Who do we want? What can we do? Who's going to give us the deal? And that, ladies and gentlemen, presents a major problem for the big parties. They have to deal with Reform if they want to make a government. Oh, that'll be interesting, because you know Reform are going to ask for a lot of strange things. Interesting times. But of course, this is now. We've got plenty more time. The Labour Party is going to be increasingly loathed as time goes on. So they're probably going to go down in the polling even more. And of course, the SNP just can't help themselves but get things wrong. I think Reform are going to snatch this. I think Reform could be 3rd biggest party, overtake maybe Labour, maybe even the Conservatives, become the 2nd biggest party as well. It's inconceivable, isn't it? They couldn't be the biggest party. Who knows? Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Bye.